Nigel and his friends danced and sprinted mercifully through the meadow, and laughing and shouting at each other as they did so. They raced the clouds together. They rolled down a hill, then stopped to lie on the tall grass. It was some of the most fun they have ever had in a long time. Nigel closed his eyes and exhaled deeply, only to be surprised with all of a sudden whoosh of cold air that didn't seem to end. Along the asteroids flying down through the ozone layer, Nigel panicked frantically and looked around, calling for his friends' names, but they were nowhere to be seen. Looking back forward, he could have sworn that his distant skies he saw himself. Only this Nigel looked more deranged and malicious, like if he was ready to kill everything on sight. "Farewell, adult Trinity," the figure said, cackling manically as Nigel saw an asteroid hurtling right towards him. He shut off his eyelids right all at once, felt like shooting up in a freezing sweat with a rapid heartbeat. It was all a dream. "Rise and shine, number one. Today's a day," a rather strange voice sounding like it came from the speaker above his bed. He looked at over the rack and the hangers and what seemed to be new clothes. Nigel sighed and then got out from under his blankets. He then took the clothes from the rack and then went to the bathroom, changing into his spacesuit in the red redesigned hoodie, open-toed shoes, and gray shorts. Along with slick-looking futuristic shades, Nigel began to walk out of the room. Before he left for the recruiting, he then walked towards his backpack and pulled something out of it, putting something on the porch of his hoodie. He was nervous as nervous can be, but he was ready for this. As Nigel exited out of the new bedroom, he then stepped into a circular platform, which instantly extended into the dark blue room of some sort. After some looking around himself, he was greeted by a white rectangular screen that popped before him. A strange electronic alien voice emitted from it. "Salutations, number one. We are all very excited to have you at this time," the voice said. Nigel gulped and said, "It's a pleasure to meet you." And then another screen popped up next to the first one. "And we are beyond honored to bring such a delicate child like yourself to our mothership," the high-pitched voice chirped. "In such dire situations of many adult trainees like this, the energy, the dedication, and even the leadership skills you are very well needed here. That's why we are the Galactic Kids Next Door have gladly chosen you to help many kids across the entire universe." "Well, this should be fun," Nigel said, and awestruck and excited that he had been told. "But before we begin," the voice abruptly added, "you need to state the Galactic Kids Next Door oath. Now repeat after us." Instantly growing and glowing white screens that appear around Nigel as he started to speak. "I, Nigel Uno," they started. "I, Nigel Uno," Nigel repeated, "will obey all Galactic Kids Next Door regulations. Will all obey Galactic Kids Next Door regulations. And abide them to the planet. And abide them to the planet. That I, Nigel Uno, should no longer command me. And so I declare my loyalty. For the sake of children around the universe to combat adult Trinity. For the sake of children and around to combat adult Trinity. Galactic Kids Next Door rule. Galactic Kids Next Door rule." And with that said, Nigel was officially declared upon the operative of Kids Next Door, and from now on until the very end. "So, what's the plan to get those clowns next door?" Stacy slyly asked Cree. "Oh, just a good old-fashioned ambush would do," Cree evilly snickered, while Carla got up into two and said, "You all made a point it wasn't to defeat the kids next door." Cree cut her off. "We know that, Carla. We have heard that you a bazillion times. We do not care right now. This could us teens use our chance to dominate those brats for good. Now stay quiet for a moment." Cree then pulled out her phone and dialing a number. At his house, Maurice was on his computer, assembling some sort of weapon, and when he heard his ringtone go off and picked up his phone, it was Cree. "Hello, Cree," he said to the phone. On the other end, Cree smiled a wee bit. "Hello, I have got some big news." She then began to whisper abruptly on the phone. "So we teens next door are planning to launch a supreme surprise attack at Sector 5 and the other Kids Next Door operatives later today, and we were just wondering if you would like to take part of it." "Sure thing, I'll see you around," Maurice said as he hung up quickly and thought for a moment. Great, now the kids next door need my help too. He then took a piece of paper and began to write onto it, and then folded the piece of paper and cased it into an envelope. At Sector 5, the meeting was being held by Abigail, who is now dubbed as the leader of the team. Now, I know we are still recovering from our old friend's takeoff, but we gotta stay strong. We are still the kids here, and we need help in the future. And Number 1 would have wanted us to carry on his Sector 5's legacy. Meanwhile, Cookie was outside of the house, checking the mail, and a mysterious letter caught her eye. From anonymous to operative Sector 7, or Sector 5. So Cookie then sprinted back up to the treehouse with the letter. Once the tree then turned to her face, and then she stopped right in front of them, panting a bit. A letter? Abigail stepped down from the podium as Cookie then handed the envelope. From an anonymous operative, opening the envelope and unfolding the paper inside, Abigail proceeds to read the contents of the letter. Your sector is under attack by teens at given time. Take action as soon as possible. Those teens are planning some sort of surprise attack. Though we better beat them down by the next time we see them, before they get us. Wally clenched his fist. Our first mission, guys, is to ambush the teenagers. Kids next door, battle stations, Abigail shouted as they all ran out of the treehouse. Several teenagers hoovered down the lane and their armor activated, trying to make sure they weren't seen by everyone. Carla broke the silence when she quietly began speaking. I'm a pretty much of a beaten, a dead horse at this point, but all this time, you all know exactly what I had in mind. Carla, Stacy responded, you know that you were going to say this to you. Once again, we don't care. Stacy then was cut off mid-sentence when all of a sudden a burst of war cries then filled the air. It was Sector 5, and swooping down from the sky, and weapons at all. Soon the battle then broke out between the two age groups, until the teens were either left bruised on the floor or fled unseen. Thought you all could pull a sneaky one, Sector 5, just 'cause old Nigel isn't around? Please. There's like thousands of kids on Earth that you were wanting to kick your butt, Abigail smoothly taunted. Ditto. Let us know if you want a second helping of knuckle sandwiches, you dolts, Wally said, knuckling as the kids all walked away laughing. Cree sat up and then trembling as the under-adulterated anger. Great, another evil plot fooled by those brats. That does it. This has been like the last straw. First they take Chad, and now this? I might as well stop trying to defeat those babies for a while. Stacy nodded to this. Might as well cut them off completely if you ask me, she said. Yeah, that's right, cut them off. That's show them, hopefully. Well, at least we'll be back into this way. Carla dusted herself off and sighed. I support your decision. Walking back to his house, Maurice took out his phone. Once he got home, he rushed to his bedroom and the group called under his tree for undercover teammates. Korochka Maurice-kun, Tekyo greeted. Annie chimed in. VC, you got to the ranked refer. You see, we aren't afraid we can't help you today. We're pretty much booked. I gotta prep myself for this concert this evening, Marie explained. And I am babysitting, Annie pointed upstairs, supposedly where a kid was. I am watching my father's mice for the day, and we're hopefully you assist you assembling your rocket launcher tomorrow. Tomorrow? Who knows what kind of mayhem that may occur just tomorrow with those galactic freaks still at large, Maurice yelped, almost panicking. We never know, but there's gonna be another bloke off of the teens next door will stick with you until then, cheerio, Maurice said, signing off. Auf Wiedersehen. Annie then waved goodbye. Sayonara. Tekyo then left the call, leaving Maurice complaints with Plan B. There's gotta be someone else that can help, but who? He fought for a few more seconds. Then his face lit up in a moment of apathy. Maurice then dialed a different number and then had the phone right in front of him. Hello, a male voice came from the phone. Leon, it's Maurice. So I'm building this missile launcher for tonight, and I'm counting on you for help. All my friends are pretty much busy all day. Well, what do you say? Will you help me? Maurice slightly pleaded to his friend. Well, I'll see what I can do for you. If I do have quite a bit to do. As well, I'll be on my way, Leon agreed. Oh, thank goodness, thank you. See you at my house. And with that said, Maurice hung up and packed his equipment. So about 20-ish minutes passed, and Maurice walked and waited for the curb in front of his home. Just as he was about to send another text, A deep male voice then beside him spoke up. You the guy? Maurice said, turning on his light. It was Leon, of course. Yes, it's good to see you again, Lee. Maurice then responded, shaking Lee's hand. Now, let's go before anyone spots us. And so the boys headed for the ballpark, having a quiet conversation along the way. So, I want to do this launch rocket into space, suspiciously at the point of perfect 90% degree angle. And this launch thing as soon as midnight comes around. Leon then looked at this, rather confused of what he was told. I am doing one of those personal science experiments, Maurice lied. All right then, Leon said, shrugging. By the time the two got to the ballpark, it was past 9:30 p.m. Maurice was exhausted but ready to take his task done. However, Leon felt that in a hurry. Now let's try to get this done as soon as possible. I gotta run some errands at Zoom at home, he said. Just follow the instructions that I give you, very carefully. We don't want anything drastic happening. The process took over 2 hours of deeply complicated instructions, carefully loading the large missile in orderly fashion, then finally sailing the missile and angling it slowly, but perfectly up towards the sky. At the 90-degree angle, they then set a timer counting down to midnight. Okay, I believe we're all set. I must be on my way home now. Like I said, errands, Leon chuckled. Good luck, Maurice. Thank you, Maurice said, waving his friend, watching him walk off. But the thing was in check, was making an extra missile to test. After about 10 minutes had passed, the timer beeped, and just as it did, Maurice let the fuse on the missile and it took over, gleefully watching the weapon take it to the sky and fade away. Hee hee hee. So long, kids next dorks. Up in space, the missile continued its journey, blowing up the Galactic Kids Next Door mothership. Guys, the projectile objective is ahead of us, Galactic operative warned, observing the missile through the telescope. Active force field, the kid said. Then the telescope kid pulled down a lever. Outside, the mothership was glowing bright red. As soon as the missile made contact with the surface, it deflected and pummeled back to Earth. Maurice saw this immediately, and his joy faded from his face. Oh no, he whimpered, running in the direction where he landed on, and to his horror, it was going for Leon. Leon, look out! He yelled. At the moment too late, it hit Leon directly on the leg. No! Maurice cried as Leon was laid out on the grass, moaning loudly in excruciating pain. Call the hospital. I think I'm bleeding out, Leon said, clutching his leg with both of his hands. Maurice dialed 911 with his phone shaking. Hello? My friend was hit in the leg by a missile. Please send an ambulance. We're near the ballpark. Maurice then sat down on the ground next to Leon, hoping to try to calm him down. Try to keep it together, Lee. Help's on the way. Soon enough, an ambulance then came into view and then stopped at the side of the road. Leon was soon carried off by a stretcher, driven to the nearest hospital, leaving Maurice completely guilt-ridden. He then sighed, then walked back home. The next day, Dr. Lincoln opened the door to the Lincoln residence, and they walked inside, deeply sad inside. Dad, is everything okay? Cree asked worriedly to Dr. Lincoln sighed once again. Well, things aren't looking too good for your brother Leon last night. He was struck by a missile and while he was out with a friend. And then an explosion and the injury is all that. What? Cree asked and gasped at the verge of tears. Yes, his leg looked pretty bad and he may need a prosthetically put on him. Cree was devastated upon hearing what just happened to her older brother. She broke down, sobbing, ran for her room, burying her face into the pillow as she cried. After a bit, her eyes slowly turned into a mix of anger and huffing and gasping and grumbling. Cree had reached for her phone and dialed Carla's phone number. Howdy, Lincoln. What's going on? I have had it with those kids next door, Carla. I don't even know how much more I could take. Cree then clutched her forehead as she was aching. First they had Chad taken away, and then they ambushed us, and now they went after my brother? I freaking had it! Your brother, eh? Carla then raised one eyebrow. He and she has never told Dad Cree had a brother. Yes, they shot him down with a missile. Cree then whimpered as a tear rolled down her face. Wow, bless your heart. Anyway, I just want to warn you what those brats for a while, and you don't know how mentally drained I am. I need a nice long break. I want to come over if it's fine with your parents, Carla offered. Sure, talk to you when I get there, Cree responded. See ya.